Right, exactly.
Welcome, First time I ever used that hammer. Welcome to the regular council meeting of the City of Cross Lake, Monday, July 8th, and we're running a little late. It's about 7:08. Let's stand for the pledge. Okay, first off, we have to do some approval of additions to the agenda. We've got some additional bills. We have a couple items removed from the mayor council members. We have a discuss no parking between Ace Hardware and Reed's Market. Approval of final plat, grand review, second edition.
I'll make a motion to accept the additions to the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries, all in favor. Recognition awards, what's that, Char? What is that? That would be Jake. Jake? Okay, good. I didn't have anything I had to do. Good evening. Hello,
Evening.
Chief.
So tonight, something a little different that Officer Martin had come up with, kind of a new idea that the police department want to start doing. We want to do a good citizenship award is what tonight's about. And the first 4 people that we wanted to give these awards out to, it's for doing something, going above and beyond to help people out. And the first 4 people we're going to give these out to tonight did a pretty good thing back in May. So I'll read a little description of the event of what happened. On May 25th of this year, a child fell out of a moving boat in the Daggett Lake Channel while reaching over the side attempting to touch a buoy. The father of the child jumped in after him and they were stranded out in the channel trying to swim to safety. The child was wearing a life jacket, but the father was not. The father became exhausted and was losing his ability to stay above the water. Bradley Robinson, Brian Robinson, Nathan Tykwinski, and Jeffrey Wheeler witnessed what was happening and sprang into action without hesitation. They got into their boats and pulled the father and son from the water and saved them from possibly drowning. So I think that was a good thing that they did. And so Officer Martin had this idea that we should sometimes recognize people that do great things to help
awesome.
others.
Are they here?
They are here tonight. As far as I know, all 4 of them are here. So I'm going to have Officer Martin come
Even
up and
better.
help me with this.
So what involvement did Officer Martin have in it?
So he was the responding officer to the scene.
All right,
And by the time he got there, you want to say anything?
That's pretty much it.
Martin? All right.
They did my job for me that day, so
Sweet.
I got there and there. It was already taken care of.
All right. So we had some little awards made up here.
Hoping everyone's here.
If I could call each one of your names and we'll come up and I think Cheryl's gonna, maybe up here, Cheryl. We'll take some pictures and first award, Jeff Wheeler. And we'll go over there then. After we get them all done, we'll snap a picture here. Next would be Nathan Tykwinski.
You gotta take a picture. You got the chief too.
Bradley Robinson. Brad didn't make it, and did Brian make it then? All right, Brian. Brian Robinson would be Brad's brother.
And you'll get your brothers too.
Sure. I would like to say my wife was the first to notice, and my daughter was included on the boat to
Okay,
help my brother and I get out there. So,
Would you like to recognize
yeah,
them as well?
thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
What was your wife's name?
Could those mentions stand up?
Stand up. Thank you. All right. Close.
Cross Lake Award.
Fantastic.
Again, thank you so much for helping out when you guys are needed. Everyone appreciates it.
Yeah, that was awesome, you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we need more people like that.
The
Fantastic.
story could have been a lot different here tonight, so
I'm
we
curious-
greatly appreciate it.
I'm curious if the father is here that was
He
rescued.
could not make it tonight. He wanted to, but he couldn't make it. All right, and another one. This one goes out to one of my officers, Officer Cody Haynes. This is also something pretty special tonight, something new that our department, as far as I know, has never done. Although we seem to be found in these situations quite a bit, and all of us have been there. This one to me is extraordinary, and I think he needs to be recognized. I'm going to present Officer Haynes with the Life Saving Award. I'm going to read a little story here that happened that night that earned him this award. On May 11th, 2024, Officer Haynes responded to a medical call on Adney Lake Road for a report of a 64-year-old female that was not breathing. Officer Haynes was the first to arrive on scene and found the husband performing CPR. Officer Haynes immediately placed an AED on the female. The device advised and delivered one shock. Officer Haynes continued CPR unassisted for 10 minutes until the ambulance arrived on scene. During that time, Officer Haynes delivered 1,001 chest compressions. Officer Haynes' determination and dedication were extraordinary. Because of Officer Haynes' early intervention and refusal to give up, this woman is alive and well today. She and her husband are eternally grateful. And Officer Haynes, if you will come forward.
Good job, Cody.
Cody, we are all extremely proud of you.
Look at that.
That's a good job. You broke her ribs and her sternum.
Do you want to? Would you guys like to come up and speak? This is Janine. Janine Balthazar and her husband Scott. And because of you, she's still here.
Yes. Yeah, he's our hero.
That's awesome, you guys. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake, you got to do this more often.
Yeah, I love
Good idea.
Normally on a medical call, we get there, we do what Officer Haynes did, and then within a matter of a few minutes, usually the fire department they're there to help, and it's a team effort. And for him to be there alone for 10 minutes is almost unheard of to do that. And for him to actually do what he did is almost superhuman. So.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I am both honored and humbled to be receiving this tonight, but I would like to note and reassure this community that it's not just me. If any one of my guys would have been presented with the same situation, I'm confident that the result would have been the same. In addition to that, between the fire department and the police department, I can assure everybody here tonight and listening that our police department and our first responders here are entirely dedicated to this community, its security, its safety, and its well-being. So we've got a great team up here. Thank you again.
Cody, we cannot thank you enough. Boy, that kind of takes your breath away, huh? Mm-hmm. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on, we'll get into our first public forum. Action may or may not be taken on any issue raised. If council requires more information or time for consideration, the issue will be placed on the next agenda. Speaker must state their name and address. Does anybody have anything? Well, come on, Peter.
Is it
Peter
about-
Graves, 14131 Sugarloaf Road. I wanted to provide an update to the City Council about the fundraising efforts on the additional pickleball courts at the community center. 2 months ago, I stood before the mayor and the City Council and let you know that we had a little bit over $33,000 in PAL that was dedicated towards this project. And at the time I said I had complete faith that we would get there by the end of June and reach our goal of 70,000, but I had absolutely no idea how we were going to do it. Tonight, I am pleased to announce that we've collected in contributions and pledges over $72,000, and I now know how it was done.
Wild.
It has been done with the strong support of our foundations, local businesses, and the individuals in this community. For example, the J.A. Weedham Foundation, in support of the Greater Cross Lake Area Foundation, decided that they would double the Greater Cross Lake Area Foundation's challenge match that we put out there. Our Park and Library Foundation, affectionately known as our PAL, decided that they would match that challenge also, and these three generous foundations working together created a total challenge match of over $7,500 available if the Pickleball Association of Cross Lake could raise that much money and do that by the end of June. With the help of the Cross Lake Ideal Lions Club and several businesses and an overwhelming number of individuals, over 3 times that amount was raised, or $23,000. Wow. In addition, $13,000 of that has been collected and earmarked towards the Ted Pedersen Memorial that I've spoken about in the past. Now, in an effort to be truly transparent, $16,000 that is pledged for the new courts has not yet been deposited. And there are some donors who hesitate on giving over those funds until there's a commitment by our city to move forward with the project and a plan for breaking ground by next spring.
I knew there was a catch.
Well, again, I have complete faith that this can happen, and I trust that the mayor and the city council see the long-term value to continue to improve our parks and the benefits of this great community. So just wanted to give you that update.
Perfect, Peter, thank you.
Well done.
Come on up, Michael.
Mike O'Connell, 34088 White Oak Drive, Cross Lake. I just want to give the council an update on, we're about 1 year out from the project of the lake trail systems that we've been working on. And we just got an update this week that we will know by the end of the month if we got the grant for the $250,000. So hopefully at the 1 year mark next month, I'll have a full update for you, but just wanted to progress in case anybody was wondering. As we've continued to wait for that grant, I've been working with the planning and zoning, the parks, and the public works departments, and to continue with that 5-year plan of the Harbor Lane Road and path that's going to be brought up this evening, along with East Shore Road and the county's addressing County Road 103 as part of their 5-year plan. So we'll continue a part of that initial inside the city limits of Cross Lake phases 1, 2, and 3, while we also expand into the greater good of the community to the Paul Bunyan Trail. So I just wanted to give you an update.
I thought you were taking the summer off, Mike.
I wish. Yeah, it's just the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Anyone else? No movement, we'll close public forum. Next is the consent calendar. Everybody had a chance to look at it? Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Alrighty, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor. Next is the mayor and council members' report, and Alden, you're first up.
I'm Alden Hardwick. I'm speaking for the Powell Foundation. A couple weekends ago, we had the grand opening of the park, and we're going to share some pictures of that. TJ has some. I'm going to share some memories of what happened during this long journey we made. 18 months ago, I came to the council and suggested that we use TJ's idea of making this park on the river, Pine River Overlook Park. It was just an idea, a way to use tax forfeiture land, but the idea grew. The mayor and the council supported the idea, they were enthusiastic, and that's what happened in the community. My memory is that the funds started to trickle in, and pretty soon there was like a creek of funds, and then a river of funds, kind of like what's happening in the river this year. And so we started with little, and we ended up with enough. The warm, enthusiastic response that you as leadership people had, and the other leadership people in the community, resulted in having something to be there for us for a long time. Not many cities add parks in a person's lifetime. And we've done this now, all of us working together. And my memory is this was really something special. Something that happened about our community. And it came because we have leadership now that is foresighted and can make things happen. So my memories are really good. And they ended really good too. TJ, why don't you show a couple pictures of our opening? And TJ, do you want to describe the pictures?
It's pretty self-explanatory. Got a big crowd there, it looks like, TJ.
No, it was a really good turnout. We had limited invitations because our parking lot is pretty limited in spaces. But Alden gave a little speech, Mayor Nevin gave a speech, and then I followed after that. It was just really cool to see a dream come to fruition and what we were working on for months. The community stepped up, individuals, the council was supportive. It was really cool to see once again what a community can do when you really team up and go after something together. I'll keep going through them. We had popcorn and some refreshments in the picnic shelter there, and then we had the ceremony of taking the sheet off the donation plaque. and then just showing how full the parking lot was. And yeah, this is our total expenditures, and we talked about it before, but we can talk about it again. We really, Pal and I patted ourselves on the back that we were able to develop a brand new park in Cross Lake for $74,000, and typically with a half-acre park, you're looking at $500,000. So pretty special to be a part of it, and I think the Powell Foundation, the council, and everyone involved, it was really something pretty special.
I think this is special in two ways. One, the involvement. Second, the suggestions. Many times during the process, ideas came up and they made the process better. Mayor Dave suggested at the open house here that we have benches along the river. And I think we thought that was a really good idea, so Pal this morning approved a bench.
All right.
But we're going to open that up to, it's a very nice memorial. You see these around the city, the benches that the park department installs. And if somebody would like to have a bench dedicated in memory of somebody, talk to TJ. It's not very expensive, and it's a nice permanent donation in memory of somebody. So we had that, we have one coming, Dave.
Good.
And we hope there'll be more. And it's a really nice spot for it because it is a pretty place along the river. And I'd like to conclude with this story. Grandparents took their grandkids to see the new park they've been hearing about. And they came and they were surprised. It was a quiet, remote, special area, very scenic. And the kids were really excited. And they ran down, and the first thing they did, of course, is ran to the dock. And they ran to the edge of the dock, and there were fish swimming upriver. And so the kids were really excited, and of course the grandparents, and of course us in the community. So we thank the community for this, and we did it together, and we made 18 months go by fast, and we have something special for it. So thanks the community, and thank you guys as the leadership.
Thank you, Alden.
Thank you.
TJ, what would we do without Alden now?
Has the water gone down at all?
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty high.
Okay, next, we've got Tim, you're up. And Steve, if you want to come up, or you're going to give us an
I'll do
update?
some quick introductions or reintroductions. I'm Tim Bray, I'm the Crow Wing County Engineer, and today the project started, right? 5 years of planning, just got kicked off with actually moving some dirt. We're pretty excited about that. I wanted to introduce Steve Stroshine again. He came to a previous meeting. Steve Stroshine, if you stand up, he's the project manager for Crow Wing County and kind of the point person for this phase of the project. I would direct all the questions the myriad of questions that are going to happen throughout this project to him, and we can hand out some cards. His phone was constantly buzzing today. A lot of questions and we were able to help a few situations. And then also I want to introduce Matt John, 2 first names. He's the on-site superintendent. He's got his bulletproof vest on too. He's the on-site superintendent for R.L. Larson and the prime contractor, of course. Important thing to note is he is a Nisswa resident, so he knows this area. And I know that was some of the conversations leading up to the successful bidder, so we're happy to have him. Just to quickly, I did mention it, kind of the chain of command. I was in charge of the most, that you've seen from me for the last 5 years on all the pre-design, all the politics, and all the discussions here at this venue for 5 years or so. And although I'm still there at the helm at the highway department, Steve really is going to know the day-to-day operation for the county, working very closely with Matt. And I just want to make sure that he is the first point of contact for questions and concerns and challenges that come up with the project. I'm always there if he is not able to give you the answers you're looking for. You may have noticed, obviously started today, and the first week of any detour in any major traffic control operation that we're trying to do here in Cross Lake is chaos. So this is fairly normal. We're going to discover all the things that we did not know, and as much planning as you can do for traffic control like this, the public finds another way. And you'll have to react to that. And I think Jackson called me today or yesterday was talking about some parking, and I'm assuming we'll move right into that after my presentation. But we're going to remain flexible with the traffic control, and we'll let you know if there's something we just can't do because we think it will endanger public safety even more. I did also talk to the sheriff again today. One of the challenges that we have with the North Project, and as I said all along, we had some lessons learned. We were paying attention to what was going on, and we want to try to avoid some of those pitfalls that happened during that. And I'd asked the sheriff to show a little more presence with his deputies kind of through the area. People sneaking through, trying to take liberties on their construction site. So we want to let the public know that we're going to have some presence there, and they'll be there if we needed. And that'll just supplement your force here in Cross Lake. So that's all I really want to do. I wanted to open it up for any questions for these two from the council, and then after that maybe move into the question about parking between Ace Hardware and Reed's.
All right. I have a question. Is the access road into the campground, is that ready?
Come on up here.
No, it is not currently ready, but as of right now, the access is still through their normal driveway. Until we get the pavement removals up and removed beyond their current access, then we'll have that secondary access constructed. But as of right now, and it's still assigned per the detour, the access is from the south. It's just a matter of where they're making their left-hand turn into the campground. Currently, they're still using the existing driveway. By end of tomorrow, we'll have the new access constructed, and obviously we'll maintain one or the other access until that's complete.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. When I went through there today, on Highway 3, I can't remember the name of the street that runs in front of Ace Hardware and Reed's, between them. Pioneer.
Yep.
Okay. Pioneer had stop signs, and so did the other side, but Highway 3 had no stop signs. And I almost pulled out in front of a car, assuming there was one there. Now, there was no close call, but because I saw him not slowing down, it wouldn't have been a good thing.
Yeah, I can take that question. So that's an intersection we're watching real close because we know, there are incidents there. We were hesitant to put a four-way stop in there. We're going to watch it for a couple days. We're going to see how the traffic reacts there. And if we need to put one in, Allstate is our traffic control company. They're ready to put it in when we call. So
thank you.
Yep.
Matt and Steve, we want this to go as smoothly as anybody does.
Me too.
So we've kind of started a little dialogue. Let's keep it up. And, whatever we can do to help you, we will. And Steve, I would appreciate being notified of those weekly meetings. I'd like to come to them.
You bet. The administrator sent me every one of the council's contacts, and so everybody's on the list now.
Okay.
And so it's at least weekly, sometimes twice a week. But just really just telling you what we've accomplished for the week and then what to expect the following week. So.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's jump into the parking. Who's going to take that?
I'll take that. I just had two people call me today, and then one stopped in at work and was just asking, hey, are we going to put up no parking signs because it's hard to get in and out of Reed's and Ace when you're putting county road traffic on a city road when they're parking up and down both sides of the city street. And it's very tight as is.
So what's your recommendation?
No parking from Barstock all the way down on Pioneer.
On both sides?
On both sides, and I'll take the bullet.
No, I agree. It's not, it's.
You can't see, and it's dangerous as is in the summertime. I'll take the fall.
I'll second your motion.
What are you
It's
going
up
to
to
put,
you.
barricades or something, or what are you going to do? Signs?
Probably what we do for the St. Patrick's Day parade. Probably just do what we do, St. Patty's Day parade, and put up those cones with the signs in them, I suppose. I don't know any other
I think
quicker
it's
option.
pretty important okay.
We could take care of it with our traffic control and then make sure everything's, up to standards.
Yeah.
But it would take a city vote to, you know, get us to do that, so.
Aaron, was that a second?
Yes.
Okay.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries all in favor. Is that the only point right now that seems to be a bottleneck? I think so.
Right now, it seems really tight.
There's no more parking. I mean, Swan Drive, the shoulder is only 2.5, 3 feet, so you can't fit a car on it anyway, so. And there's no parking on that, other side. Or if you
Apparently
go
there was a
eastbound.
little wreck or something on the corner there this morning.
At 3 and 36, yes.
Yeah.
See more. Get with,
Now,
I
is
was
three-
out there most of the day. That was the only area I saw that was really bottled up, so.
Is 3 and 36 a four-way stop?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that happened minutes after we
I'd say
transitioned
I'm
to
sure it's going to
traffic.
take a little while for people to realize it's a
Yep.
four-way stop.
For sure.
So, I'm sorry, is it 36 south of town? What's the,
103, 36, and 3.
okay, so 37 and
37,
3
sorry.
is not a
Sorry.
four-way stop.
Correct. Yep.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say was 37.
Yeah, the
and
one
3.
by Pioneer
Yeah.
and 37 is where we're watching to put the eventual four-way stop in if it needs it, so.
Probably will, but we'll see. All right. Any other questions for him?
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. It's going to be fun to watch it.
Get the bleachers.
All right, we got short-term rental. Chip, are you going to take that?
All right, good evening, Mayor, Council. It's been 2.5 years we've been talking about short-term rentals and ordinances and things like that. For the last couple months, some of the staff and myself have been talking with GovOS, which used to be MuniRevs, the same platform that the county uses for their short-term rentals. And Eric's online here along with Austin, and they're going to give us a little presentation. They'll show you how it works, because we've talked about it so many times, but you've never seen the platform work.
Yeah.
So now you'll be able to see it, and we'll go from there. Eric, you ready?
I am, yes, thank you. Austin, my colleague, is going to share his screen. Austin, can you go ahead and do that?
I would. It looks like I do need the permission to do so from the Zoom host.
Okay. Would anyone be able to give him permission quickly? Is that possible?
Give him permission, Jackson.
When I do it, you're negotiating.
We're working on it, Eric.
Oh, okay, perfect, thank you.
I give him permission.
Smiley should be able to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Council. We certainly appreciate the opportunity to have this discussion. And I know we have a very short window, so we're going to make it quick. As Chip said, my name's Eric Clore, and I am an account executive for GovOS. And my job is to have conversations with folks like yourselves and see if we can come up with a win-win partnership. Austin, would you mind just doing a quick intro, please?
Sure. Austin Logie here. I'm a solutions consultant with GovOS, and I work closely with our product and our solutions, especially when we'll be talking about today. So happy to be here. Thank you.
Perfect. So we're just going to touch on quickly some real customer quotes because I think they resonate with some of the challenges that Cross Lake is having when it comes to short-term rentals. And I don't want to read this slide word for word by any means, but just a couple that I want to point out. Enforcement is challenging with the time it takes to do all this stuff. We just have to move on. I'm sure there are people operating that aren't in our system. So these are challenges that we hear in jurisdictions across the country, is that it's very difficult to implement processes to identify the short-term rentals, ensure that they are up to compliance based off of whatever your local ordinances are, and also collect the revenues that might be associated with those properties. And that's really what we do. We help make it easy to do all three of those and really put time back in the day of your staff. Like many folks, many staffs, many people that we talk to in jurisdictions across the country, you folks have so much on your plate on a day-to-day, you just don't have the time that it would take to really manage a short-term rental program, and that's what we can do to help. So, Austin, would you go ahead and take it from here?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to highlight the highest priority kind of aspects of the system and how we can help the city manage short-term rentals, or STRs, as I'll be referring to them. So I'm going to stop my video and save some bandwidth here and jump right into it. Alrighty, so what you're looking at here is the short-term rental dashboard that we built for Vail, Colorado. We know that you're looking to model your short-term rental registration process after theirs somewhat. And since they are a GovOS customer, we figured why not use them as an example to take a quick look. So the foundation of the whole system is our STR identification service. So our team is going to identify every single STR property in the city, pulling information from over 30 different listing platforms. So that's Airbnb, VRBO, literally 20-something others. We do that with the help of AI, as well as some good old-fashioned detective work. So we look at pictures in the listing, Google Maps, assessor information, whatever we can to confirm exactly where every single rental is located in the city, and then reverse geocode it to match it to one of your parcels. And the power behind that match means now you have the address and you can begin doing outreach directly to those STR owners, inviting them to come online and register. But more on that in a bit. For now, let's just take a look here. We have, property and listing information. We can generate a map of where every single one's located. So this is all of Vail's STRs. We can visualize different changes that happen across the city over time. You can see here they have almost 10,000 listings, so probably just a few more than Cross Lake, but that's the kind of metrics that we gather and present on a dashboard like this. We can look at average daily rate that these hosts are charging, what type of property they are over here on the right. So just a lot of information that we capture and bring it into this kind of dashboard for you to reference at a glance. And then beyond showing where these properties are, you can also track their compliance. So have they registered yet? Is their permit expired? Have they not paid taxes? So once you provide your compliance, quote unquote checklist to us, we go through one by one, determine who is compliant, who's not, classify that in your system. You can see Vail's compliance pie chart down here, different metrics. You'd have the similar kind of tracking there. So that's ID and compliance, kind of the foundation of all of this. But another major part of this whole dashboard is tracking complaints that come in from the community. So we do have a 24/7 bilingual complaint hotline that really anyone can call. Hotline staffed by our team. They're all based here in the US. So they will take that call from, say, a neighbor, record the details in the system of what the complaint is, attach a recording of that call to the property record that it's about, and then if need be, our staff person will escalate that to the proper channels. So if, for instance, they need to reach out to police if the situation calls for that, they can. Maybe just an emergency contact for the property if the situation calls for that. So they kind of have a decision tree they follow. And just like other parts of the dashboard, that's also visible up here at the top. I can just jump over to the complaints, see how those trend over time. So you can have our team handle these, let your agencies focus on the major ones that maybe require more follow-up. But really, you're just trying to give neighbors peace of mind here that their issues are being heard and addressed. So that's a snapshot of the dashboard that city can use just to get a pulse of what's going on. But I do want to shift gears here for the next couple minutes. Look at things from the perspective of a short-term rental owner. Because of course, the goal here is for them to be, as self-service as possible and remove the vast majority of the work that the city staff has to do and just really simplify things and make it easy to complete tasks as an owner. So if I'm an STR owner in Cross Lake, I can just pull out my phone or open my laptop. We're totally cloud-based, so all they need is a Wi-Fi connection, and log into my STR portal that would look something like this. And this is really where I can access everything I need to manage my property with the city. So today, there's quite a few components to this. I'm just going to focus on this section right here of open tasks, probably the most important part of this. These are things that I need to take care of as an owner. So for instance, if I just launched my short-term rental but don't yet have a certificate I haven't registered technically yet, then the first task I would see here would be to actually apply to register for one. So I'd click on this little link, short-term rental registration application, open up that task, and begin. So this isn't exactly how your registration would look in Cross Lake, but as an example, just to show you how these things typically work, there's usually some sort of a web form that I would fill out to provide my information, contact information, maybe additional questions about the building that I'm using as a rental. So we would build this out to match exactly what the city needs to learn from these owners, all the information you need to collect, and I'd fill this all out. We can make these required, so you have to fill out every single question that's asked every single time, so no incomplete forms ever get sent back. And it's just a matter of just kind of paging through and answering questions. I mean, again, this is just kind of an example, but if I keep hitting submit, I can see, for instance, this is where I would enter my emergency contacts for that complaint hotline. Next up here is a self-inspection is pretty common, we see with a lot of jurisdictions across the country. And I believe you all have something similar to this, which was provided to us, this short-term rental fire and life safety guidance checklist. So something like this would be built into this form. So it would all be one consolidated application, essentially, that someone would fill out when it's time to register. We can even do things like, upload an outside document like a parking plan, or in the instance of Cross Lake, I believe there needs to be some sort of septic compliance document that the staff needs to review. So that's exactly where this would be asked for and collected, and I can just click right into the form and upload a document. So there you go. That's an idea of how it works. I've now applied to register my property. And you can see down here, it's now pending approval from the city. This one didn't have a fee associated to it in this example. I know you're all planning to have one on yours. That's no problem to include. The owner would just be directed to a payment checkout screen where they just enter their credit card information, just like, say, Amazon, and the funds get sent to the city bank accounts through our own in-house payment processor, which comes with the system. So the owner's job is done here. Again, pending approval, and they can just kind of move on with their day. Now, the other thing owners typically do in the portal is file their lodging taxes in jurisdictions that collect them. We understand that the Lodging Association, they collect that 1% lodging tax for Cross Lake. So we'd need to speak with them if we wanted to include that, but it is certainly an option. Just want to point that out. Tax forms can be filled out and paid for, just like that registration example. It's just a task that gets assigned, and I have to complete it. So that's a quick look at things from the owner's perspective. Again, they're doing things themselves. These are tasks that can be automatically assigned. And the great thing is, if they have any questions, they would just contact our GovOS support team via email or phone. So we're the first line of support. If anyone in the community has that question, maybe needs help registering, not sure how to reset a password, anything like that. So that's something we're proud to offer to all of our customers. So just wrapping up here, beyond what the owners see, there actually is a whole kind of back-end administrative side to this for city staff to manage. So just wanted to quickly touch on that as I wrap up here. Right behind this admin button, there's a lot to see here. I mean, there's a revenue dashboard you'll notice at the top with some graphing. You can track delinquent accounts here on the right. And then on the left are all kinds of aspects of the system that can be configured and tracked and updated. So just to touch on a couple of these, for instance, approvals, if I click on that, here's a list of every single thing that needs to be approved by someone in the city. And we have a whole approval automation process to help get through these registrations really as quickly as possible and let the owners know when something has been approved, when they're essentially allowed to operate within the city. Speaking of, we have a whole notifications section here. This is all about automatic communication. So messages that automatically get sent to all these owners about, say, upcoming due dates for a renewal or a new tax form, etc. And we track everything here, so you can see even whether or not they've opened an email, saving hours and hours of printing and folding and mailing paper notices. We're just trying to, again, automate this as much as possible and save on shipping costs and printing costs. And then on the money side of things, you can search for any transaction that's ever been paid in the system. There's a whole reconciliations module you'll see here for accountants to export this to the general ledger for the city. So that's kind of another big aspect here. And then finally, reports. So we have all this data that's getting updated daily or even, by the hour. And we have a number of reports that are pre-made, ready to go. You can access these in just a few clicks. So for instance, if you wanted to see a readout of all the fees that have been collected over the past fiscal year, maybe compare it to the year prior, that's something you could pull up literally in a matter of seconds with one or two of these reports. So that's really it. Just to sum this up, this is a home base to track all of the processes, all of the ways you regulate STRs and the payments you collect. It's all online. It's just a single source of record for staff to access. So that's all I personally have for you tonight. Just wanted to give you a short look of how things look from the owner's perspective, make it easy as possible for them to complete things online, and then from the city staff, giving them insights and control over, again, just about every aspect of your STR management program. So thank you very much for your time. I'll let Eric take it from here.
Great. Any questions? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
In the city of Vail, I mean, who runs this? I mean, do they have one person or a whole? I mean, how many people does it take to actually handle this, and how much time do you think it takes them?
So I would imagine a jurisdiction, to answer your question, I'm not exactly sure how many folks Vail has that manages the program. My guess is probably 2, maybe 3, but they are a much bigger, jurisdiction, if you will. For the most part, our software is going to have one person, or our jurisdictions are going to have one person that manages the solution, because essentially the software can take one person and turn them into 5 people or 10 people, just because it's of the efficiencies that are created. Makes it very easy for them to, again, identify the properties, ensure those folks are registered appropriately, and even manage complaints as well.
And this program automatically notifies you if someone's delinquent or someone hasn't licensed their property?
Yes, so it will be able to track who's compliant and who isn't, and it would give you that information, yes.
Eric, maybe I can't find it in my packet here, but what's the cost of the program?
Yeah, so Austin, can you go ahead and, okay.
Holy hell.
Well, so just to kind of break this down, because we wanted to give you kind of an estimated ROI, and of course these are estimates, but I feel comfortable that we are being conservative with the numbers. So we estimate that there are 200 short-term rentals within the jurisdiction. I think the staff thought there were about 300. Our initial data was showing 200. It's probably somewhere in the middle, would be my guess, but we won't know the exact numbers until we launch. We discussed a potential registration fee of $1,000, annual fee of $1,000, which quite honestly, not every jurisdiction has a number such as that, but it would make sense for your jurisdiction. The reason why I say that is we're showing the average daily rate for these properties is $570 per night. So essentially it's just 2 nights over the course of a year that make up that registration fee for the average property. Now, we have a very good track record of having at least 90% of those properties up to compliance within the first 12 months. So that means they have, registered their property, they have done everything they need to do per your ordinance to comply. So based off of that, 200 properties at a registration fee of $1,000 with 90% being compliant within the first 12 months, you'd be looking at a potential estimated annual registration revenue of $180,000. Our cost, which includes everything that Austin discussed, including that 24/7 complaint hotline, would be $32,500. So our best guess would be that your initial first year ROI would be $147,500.
So Eric, is that based on 200 people or 200 renters? And if there were 300, would it go up a percentage? Your cost?
No, it would not. It would not. So if there were 300, it still would be the same cost. It's just your ROI would look healthier.
Okay, so 32.5 is what your maintenance cost for the year is.
Yes.
And how long is the contract term for if we were to agree with it?
12 months.
And just annually renewal?
Yes.
Yeah.
So are the admin reports only available to the administration in the city of Cross Lake?
Yes. So they would be available to who you folks would like them to be available to. But yes, to the staff.
Do you have mapping showing where the rentals are?
Yes, actually, yes, yes.
I didn't see it.
Oh, it's all good.
So our biggest
Here, I can
cost
show that
in
real quick.
labor to this will be the inspection part of it.
We can,
Our biggest
Okay.
personnel commitment to it would be our inspection process.
Initial inspection and compliance of septic.
Yeah, that which would be you and your staff and Paul. Okay.
So if you click on, how does a resident know who to contact the STR owner if they want to complain to that owner about something that's occurring on their property? Can they click on one of those sites to find out who they should contact?
Eric, I can answer that. All of
Okay.
our STRs in our ordinance, they have to have a sign with the property manager's phone number. It'll have a different sign out in front of it.
I know, but can they just go online and click? Some people don't want to go through the whole city office kind of thing.
Well, they
and
don't have to,
they
they just
should-
drive by it. Most complaints would be somebody that's
So
close by.
where would that-
Well, I'm talking about if they want to just sit down at their computer and find out who's running the show there and who they contact. Because right now, you can do that on the county site.
Yeah, so the county uses the same company. They use this GovOS.
Okay.
So where would that posting be? You said they're gonna drive by and see who's there.
In the ordinance, it says we talked about it years ago about having it out front and then one on the lake. That's
Yeah,
up
but
to
I
you
thought-
all.
I thought that got voted down, no?
We never
That
voted
was,
on anything.
that was because the software wasn't.
Yeah, it's like you have to have one on the street side. If you're on a lake, you have to have it on the lake.
Oh, yeah, we would want to at least see the license number out front.
Right.
And that also lets people know that it is an STR.
Right. So there is gonna be something identifying it.
Yeah, we talked about putting one underneath the E911 sign on the front,
That we could
which is the blue, your address sign.
put it on their side.
And the
We talked
county
about
was-
putting one, what's that?
I thought we couldn't put it on, is that a county sign or?
Oh, they're owned by the city.
Can we just focus on
Yeah.
these guys first, and then we'll come
Yeah.
back to that? Thank you.
Good direction.
Any other questions for Eric or Austin at this time?
How many places would the computer have access? How many computers in this city would his squad cars have access? Or is that an added cost? I guess is what I'm asking Eric.
They don't need access. We just figure out who the administrators are.
Okay, so we do have it then.
So Chip, you're comfortable with, you've looked into this and you're good and solid?
so if the county does this, we're just gonna be more restrictive than the county, right? Is that the
That's
goal
fine.
here?
That's fine.
Well, and plus, we're getting the revenue.
Yes.
Right.
Well, are we gonna do this now or are we gonna wait till the
But we
first of the
also
year?
get all the expenses.
Right.
The actual start of it would be January 2025, but we need to have the ordinance approved so that they have time to build the system.
Okay.
And they need at least 5 months to start working on it. That's why we're bringing it to you now.
Well, I support it.
How that lands, right.
Looks like an answer to our dreams. Looks really good.
So make that motion.
Well, I move that we try this GovOS computer software. I think it looks
I'll second it.
fantastic.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? I guess the only question I'd have is they don't have to pay their fee until the first of the year. We're just gonna get set up for it.
It won't launch until the first of the year.
Yeah, so they're not
But
worried.
we're gonna try to get ahead of it.
What's
I
the
think
setup?
Jerry and I have talked about it, that we might get ahead of it.
I think what Dave is asking is, when do we have to pay them? after it's all set up?
No.
Eric, can you answer that? When would the city of Cross Lake need to pay GovOS?
It would be upfront during the setup process. It typically would be upfront, yes.
Thank you.
But the contract would actually run January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025.
I think you're talking about the licensing. These guys here want
Oh,
money
with-
before
With
January
GovOS.
1st.
What is that period?
Eric, when is your contract from when to when?
From when 12 months from the date it's signed.
Thank you.
Yep.
And the county's had good luck
Then
with it? From,
I guess one other thing. that
I'd like to maybe hear some references, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, I think Jim, I'll make a reference. The county's already using it.
And Vail's using it, there's about, Eric, how many cities do you do short-term rentals for offhand?
We have about 800 customers.
Well, we have a motion and a second.
Dave, can I add one more element to it?
Okay.
The initial cost of this, the $32,500, is the estimated cost, is to come from the telephone company interest income funds. So we don't negatively impact our budget for this year. That's
Go
a
ahead.
motion.
Well, hold on. As I say,
Just to let you know, you're, based on the estimates, the license fees, you're going to be plus. You should be taking that, the 32,000 out of the license fees.
Yeah, but
It'll pay for itself.
there's going to be an interim. We
Right.
got to pay them now, and we're not going to collect
that
till the
in.
first, so we got.
Initially, you could borrow from any fund and want to pay it back, though, but I think it should be
Right.
self-sustaining.
Okay, but then it should come from telephone, so we don't affect other budgets.
can I ask one more question before you vote?
Okay.
What's the county's compliance on this? Like, what's their compliance rate with using this system? Do we happen to know what Crow Wing County's compliance rate is?
I do not know what the county's compliance rate is, but obviously there's a lot of Cross Lake rentals that are not compliant with the county.
Correct, but yes. I mean, it could be all over, but yes, I get that as well.
Who's going to find the ones that are not getting licensed?
Jake.
They are. They're going to know that.
That's
part.
their job. That's their job.
Okay, let's get back to our motion. The motion is to approve this, correct?
Yeah.
And a second? Let's vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, motion carried 4-1. Now Aaron wants to introduce another motion to have it come out of the phone company money?
The initial, it can be repaid as the funds come in, but the initial cost to bring it from the interest income of the telephone company.
Okay,
I'll
but,
second that.
okay, my only comment to that is we could just let the administration figure out where the money's coming from.
But I don't want other accounts impacted or affected.
Okay, so,
I'll second, or did Sandy second?
Sandy did.
okay, so all in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion carries. I don't know, what did you do there, Marcia?
She did aye.
I went with it.
You went with it 4-1?
I'm going out on a limb here. You know where I stood the whole time, so we'll see if it works.
So great.
I voted yes.
Austin and Eric, appreciate your time tonight. I'll get in touch with you later this week.
That sounds great. Thank you all. Really
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Yep,
Thank you.
thanks a lot,
Have a great
guys.
evening.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very
bye-bye.
much. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right.
I want to thank you, Chip, for bringing that.
Comments?
Yeah.
Long time, Dave. It's finally here.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
So the suggestion that I have is that we sit down and have a workshop to clean up the ordinance.
Yeah.
Because they don't really need it right now. They can start, we just need to clean it up. I don't want to do it tonight. I don't want to talk about it too much because we need to sit down and give you time to read it again, refresh your memory, and then
So this covers the form of signing it up. We still need to cover the boots on the ground aspect of it, right?
Well, yeah, they do, like he said, majority of the work is done by them.
Yeah.
We just do follow-ups and initial inspection. We have to decide if we're gonna do $1,000 for the fee, if we're gonna do $750, $500.
Right.
And then we need to know what our fine schedule is gonna be. I think it's already in there, Shar, I'm not sure.
We have what it currently is.
Yeah, but we just need to clean up everything, so when we start
And
building the platform, it's
This is
correct.
the latest and greatest?
Is the current license fee 500?
Yes.
So this is the one that we gotta
We don't have
look
a
at?
fee. I think the county charges, I think 300, I'm not sure.
400, I would have guessed, but
So he did give us an example the other day that if we did it at, what, 750 or 500?
I think 500.
So if you do the math on that, we were still ahead.
It was like a ROI of 90,000.
Yeah.
But what is the county charging? What's the county charging?
Either 300 or
Nobody
400.
knows. Okay.
400?
I thought it was 400.
I think it's 400.
But then, like he said, our average nightly rate, he was very surprised how high it was.
Huh?
So are we going to do a motion on the new ordinance tonight?
We have got a,
Oh, okay.
Do we want to read the 2 letters that are in here?
okay, go ahead.
Do we want to, or what's the?
Well, I think we should. Somebody wrote them and they're in the back.
I'll read the first one. Dear City of Cross Lake, my father, sister, husband, and I are grateful to be full-time residents of Cross Lake, Minnesota. We have been following the county and local news regarding short-term rentals. We understand there is complexity, but we believe residents should have the ability to rent their property, especially given we are considered a vacation destination for many. We don't even know if we will rent our home, but we would like to know if we will have the ability to do so. With the upcoming National Loon Center, it will be even more important to offer places for people to stay when they visit our area. We fully support the expectation that our home rental owners must be good neighbors and must manage their properties to ensure their renters are courteous and respectful. We have learned from many property rental owners that there are many approaches you can take to ensure you can remain a gracious neighbor to others. Our biggest concern, if we decided to rent, would we be to make sure we do so in a manner that our neighbors feel good about. We support reasonable regulation, but certainly hope there is limited government involvement. That said, we do not believe our county, city should prohibit Cross Lake property owners from short-term rental or place huge regulations on property owners. We met a couple a few months ago that live in southern Minnesota and bought their home up here about 10 years ago. They said they could never have afforded this property if they couldn't have rented it. They plan to eventually retire up here. They told us that they get a ton of repeat families who stay at their place and have had no complaints from any of their neighbors. We believe most people want to be respectful property rental owners and do not want to jeopardize their relationship with their neighbors and community. In recent county news, we have read about county versus city/township jurisdiction over short-term rentals. We corresponded a couple months ago with Bill Brecken, ex-Crow Wing County Commissioner, to express our views. Again, as a Cross Lake property owner, we believe in property rights and we feel strongly owners need to be responsible, respectful, and accountable. This applies to our property owners who invite friends and family to their residence just as much as short-term property rental. If the issue is reckless reckless property owners who disregard their neighbors, we think an effort should go in detailing the problem of owners and penalizing all homes. Sorry, I totally butchered that. We think effort should go into dealing with the problem owners versus penalizing all homeowners. We understand this is not easy to enforce, and we also understand that it would be irritating to be next to a poorly managed short-term rental or a neighbor who throws loud parties at their residents. But, in our opinion, stripping rental rights from everyone because of problem owners is not the solution. We also think our county and city likely hear the most from disgruntled residents. We get it. We would be complaining too if we were experiencing a challenging property owner next to us. Again, we just don't believe the answer is over-restriction to the point where short-term rentals are not viable options for Cross Lake property owners. If Cross Lake is considering more restrictive regulations, we hope you seek input from all property owners, similar to how our county reached out for all of our viewpoints to be shared. Thank you in advance for listening to our point of view. If you think we need to get more involved, please let us know, and thank you for your service to Cross Lake. Most sincerely, Cindy and David Jensen, George Gibbons, and Kay Gibbons Baker. Cinda, sorry.
Okay. Okay,
Cinda.
well, this second letter is actually from the same people, and it's just kind of an addendum. I don't know that I need to read the whole thing. Mainly, they're just saying they're only remaining, they thank you for changing the ordinance, their only remaining comment is that they think that requiring a manager to be within 60 minutes is unrealistic, but that's it.
Where are we?
So next we're at resolution accepting donations. We have got donations from the Garrison Fire
Did you
Department.
want to set up a workshop?
Oh, should we set it? Okay. And it's going to be a council workshop, Chip?
Yes.
Including staff?
What do we have on the 24th of July?
And the new one in there.
We do have,
And this is what,
You guys have that on the 17th is a union negotiations, and I forgot to tell you, I won't be at that.
this is the one that we have today.
I know, but I'll be in Milwaukee.
17.
I'll be in Milwaukee.
That's,
I can't cancel that.
I won't be here either.
that's the one we have.
I told you that.
Gets it
I
to the
sent you.
counties. Yep.
I spaced it out. I apologize.
I don't know, the 24th, is that work?
24th? Sorry, TJ, it's another commission meeting.
This is our planning meeting.
The 31st, that's fine.
Not for me.
Not for Aaron. Aaron's out.
30th through August, probably the 3rd is out.
25th is okay for me?
I can't. I'll be at a Crowing Power Board meeting.
What do you got to go to that for?
Because I'm on the board under that board. So I have to go.
26th?
That's a Friday. Come on.
I think the sooner we do it, the better, because we want to get this rolling, so
Well, but
how about the 23rd?
Who's the problem child on the 24th?
You are.
No, 24th, I'm good.
Oh, I thought you said you.
At 2, it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Sure.
On the 24th?
Do we want to do 8:30 or 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock.
Okay, so July 24th at 9 a.m.
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Once you get the final touches on that ordinance, then you probably should be having a public hearing prior to the adoption of that, and you could do that in conjunction with your August meeting.
Before the August council meeting, have it at 6 o'clock or something.
You can do it, it probably won't take that long, but you could do it at any time that day.
It will be long.
Okay.
Well, look at the last one.
If Jackson lets it be long, it will.
But we would schedule a public hearing on that day, and we'll try and accommodate earlier than later.
Do that at the 24th meeting. We'll
Yes.
figure it out. Okay. Let's move right along here. We have a resolution accepting donations. We got a Garrison Fire Department. They're donating 28 and a half hours of service. Oh, to the Crow Wing County Community Wildfire Prevention Day. Mission Fire Department, 10 hours of service, Crow Wing County Wildfire Prevention Day. Cross Lake Firefighters Relief Association, $2,830.55 to go to uniforms. Pal Foundation, $830 for the Pine River Overlook Park plaque. Pal Foundation, $80.53 for the summer reading program.
I'll make a motion that we accept these approved resolution, I don't know what the number is, but of the donations that the mayor stated.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All in favor. Okay, next we got, we were able to connect with the city administrator. We extended an offer to Lori Conway and she accepted. So she should be starting August 5th. Is there anything else anybody wants to add to that?
She's great.
Yeah, we should have some kind of introduction for her, so stay tuned for that. And then I got to add one thing to the report here, the mayor's report.
I think Jerry wanted you guys to do a formal motion.
Oh, okay.
I move that we remove the conditional job offer and make the permanent job offer to Lori Conway.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And then I'm going to add a quickie here. Bill Terry wants to come up. Bill is doing a little road project there and he needs some engineering help.
Hey, I'm Bill Terry, 38043 Anchor Point Trail. I've got a small road project. We've been meeting with the appropriate people to get it in line as we go, and we're at the point where we need engineering. And I met with Jerry Bonsack today and talked it over with him regarding the best way to do it, particularly if at some point we want to give the road to the city. Jerry recommended that I use the city engineer, Phil, and that way we would have everything engineered appropriately when it came time to give it to the city. I said, how do we do that? And he said, come to the council meeting.
What are we doing?
Well, hang on. I met with Bill today, and we went back and forth about trying to get engineering for the project. And I had a conversation with Phil also about getting engineering for the project, and Bolton & Mink does not do private engineering. I told Bill that I had done in the past a situation where the developer petitioned the city to do the engineering. The city would engage the engineering company to do the engineering, and we would have a contract with the developer that he would reimburse the city for all the engineering costs that we incur. In this case, I think it would be to our advantage to do that because we would have total control over what gets done on the project. I don't believe that we would have total control any other way. I know this is something that is totally out of the blue, and the conversation happened this afternoon.
Why do we want control? Why do we want to stick our hands in his project?
Because he's going to try and turn it over to the city, and if we don't know that it's done right, we shouldn't take it over.
Okay.
If it's done to our specifications with our engineer doing the supervision and the engineering, I think we have more control than we do any other way.
Jerry?
And the city will be reimbursed.
Hold on a second. Typically, we have them work through Phil, and Phil bills them directly. We don't get in the middle of it, and the planning commission usually gets involved as well.
The engineering part of it in the past has been done where the private individual, or in the case of Mr. Miller over there, he hired his own engineer, and Phil would review the engineer's plans and put his stamp of approval on them.
But I believe he sent a check to Phil to do that.
He has not been billed for that. Yes. We would be doing the same thing. We're cutting out the second step of review.
I guess I'm struggling with, we're building a road, but we don't have anything around it? It's just a road?
Right, what's going on?
I'm
There's a subdivision that's coming. Quite frankly, we should have been talking about the subdivision before we're talking about the engineering of the road, quite frankly.
Thank you.
There's a subdivision on your agenda this evening as far as proving a preliminary plat. I believe. No, I'm sorry. The preliminary plat is coming in front of the Planning Commission on the 26th.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it's a process. And I know it's not been done here before, but I just believe in this situation, having control is very important. And in controlling the design, I think, is very important.
Well, the city won't take it on if it's not designed right, is my understanding.
Right.
Even if somebody else did it.
Right.
Regardless.
Right.
Well, that's what we got into about the costs. If we have somebody else design and build it, then we got to go back in with the city engineer to approve it later, and it's an additional cost that you would eliminate if the city engineer designs it in the first place.
Don't we have it somewhere in our regulations, what a city road, what their specs should be? I'm not trying to sound like a jerk.
No, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I don't.
Jerry, I think we have the road ahead of the
okay.
development, and I think we need to approve the development before we worry about the road. That's a personal opinion.
And that's fine. I do believe, though, that in this case, having control is going to be damned important.
I'm struggling with it, okay?
I appreciate that, and I knew there would be a struggle to it.
Because it hasn't been done that way in the past.
Well,
I'd like to see the development before I comment on what we will commit to.
Well, the recommendation makes sense to me, but, you know,
I want to see the development first.
The development is scheduled for a planning commission review for the preliminary plat on the 26th of this month.
Yeah,
And maybe it's premature to talk about it this evening, but
this might be more of an August discussion than July.
Well, that's one of the frustrations, has been the time frame. We started this small project back in May.
We did?
Or April. I did.
Oh, you did, okay.
And I'd like to get it up for sale before Christmas, and engineers are hard to come by, and we talked to Phil today, and that's when this all came up. Don't ask me.
So if everybody else has done it privately, hired a private engineer to do it to our specified specs, we adopt the road, why does the city even need to touch it to have control? If they build the road to the specs, they're crystal clear. Why do we need to be involved? Everyone else has done it that way. Why are we putting our fingers in this? I don't get the advantage, and I don't get why we would do that.
I think because you'd like to have both Mink to do it, and the only way they can do it.
Yeah. I have it's probably an issue with more the inexperience of the developer than anything.
Yeah.
And not knowing exactly what, and not knowing exactly what they're doing, quite frankly.
Okay. Fair.
And I'm trying to be polite about that.
I know, fair.
But I don't want the city spending money to develop something. I don't want a precedence being set.
But they're going to be
The
reimbursed.
question was about spending money. It appeared the only way to get it done was for the city to order it and then me pay for it. And I can pay the money, I can pay the money up front.
In the past, we've done it several different ways. I remember Anderson Road, that was done by a private, and I think we took a $10,000 cashier's check or something that we held. I kind of agree with Jerry. If, I'll use Wild Wind Ranch Road as an example. That was a private road built by a private developer, supposedly to city specs, and it failed. And in 2023, we had to reconstruct the whole road. And I agree with Jerry. I think and we've done developer agreements in the past where the client is on the line for the city legal and engineering expenses for inspection and that stuff. So if the attorney can put together an agreement, and again, maybe this is too preliminary till you see the plat and stuff, but I just wanted to say that, just because there's a spec in the ordinance that says it should be 6 inches of class 5 and blah, blah, blah. That isn't how the roads sometimes get built. And even Daggett Pine Road, when we just did Daggett Pine Road and started milling, we milled right into the sand in some of those areas. So to have the engineer design it and inspect it is an advantage to the city. You know what you're going to get. The big thing is just tying it up in a legal agreement.
Dan, want to say something?
Yes, I develop, I put my roads in and whatnot, and I actually mentioned using Bolton Mink too to be my engineer, except they've got a huge conflict of interest if you ask them to review their own plan before accepting it. So you're basically hiring the person that's doing the review for you. The other thing is, if I thought I could hire Bolton Mink to do my stuff, I wouldn't have to pay for a review. Everything would be just fine. There's plenty of engineers out there. You get the plan, you work with Bolton Mink, you have it accepted. Bolton Mink has to come out and they have to do inspections on that road, no matter what. That's their job, but they're reviewing their own plan. I don't see how that could possibly be legitimized, that you could hire somebody to do a job and then hire them to inspect their own work. But, and I know this whole thing takes time. I'm right at the top of the, I get it, but it's just part of the process.
Yeah, I think Bill's trying to save some time and skip a step or consolidate a step anyway.
The crux of this whole thing is that the design is controlled by the city. The engineer is hired by the city. We get reimbursed for our costs. That's
Bill,
the
do you think
crux
there's a
of it.
conflict with that?
Let's hear from the city attorney. He's up there, isn't he, on Zoom? Chime in.
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. I guess it would be something that we'd want to look into further. From the get-go, there was a comment that, there's a chance that this goes to the city. So at this point, right, there is no agreement, there is no specific terms that we can review and analyze. So I think it is probably appropriate to gather information at this point, and then we can do a more focused review rather than just kind of off the cuff giving a first take here tonight.
Will you be ready to advise us at the August meeting? Will you have an agreement, whatever?
We can gather information. I don't know the process necessarily. It sounds like there's something upcoming later this month. And we can, correspond with Jerry and gather more information ahead of that meeting as well.
Jordan, do you think there's a conflict having the city engineer who does approve those plans do the whole package?
I don't want to look into that as well.
Yeah, okay. Phil, have you had any past experience with that?
I just never thought of that, you know, it's curious.
I've personally never, so our rule is we want to work with the city. So we turn down private work in the city when we work in the city. We want to be sitting at the table representing the city, advocating for the city, protecting the city. So and Dan, I know Dan, but Dan has asked me in the past, can you do engineering for us? And I'm like, no, not in Cross Lake. We cannot do, because we work for the city. So I have seen where cities have a desire for development and they take it on and request their city engineer do the work. But what the developer has to understand is we're essentially doing a project based on what the city's perspective is. The city's goals are we might be more costly than another engineer, so you kind of take it out of the marketplace if they want to try and find someone cheaper. So I personally haven't done it. I'd be curious what the attorneys come up with. In terms of reviewing our plan quality will be at or better than what most development engineers are coming in, because we're actually thinking about this road has to last a long time. It's not just the road, it's the stormwater computations. I think that's actually, most of the engineers are just fine doing the road, but the city has requirements. I mean, we have to make sure that there's not a drainage problem down the road. The person sitting on the lowest spot isn't the one that ends up taking all the water. So it's more than just the road, it's the computations.
So it's probably a good idea to have one person do it, one person oversee it.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the question was raised, why don't I take this on or take this work on? We don't work in our client communities on behalf of private developers unless the city tells us we want you to do it, and you're essentially then working for the city, looking out for the city's interests. And I'm just saying sometimes a developer might be, why are you putting down 2 more inches of gravel on this design? This is costing me. This is a bit more than what the cookie cutter specs the city ordinance has. And we'll say, well, because we did soil borings, we're concerned about the soils, we have to beef up this section. You can see how a private engineer might say, well, I only have to put 6. We're coming back on, no, we're doing 8 because this road's got to be
So on
there.
your oversight portion of it, do you go out and do soil borings to verify?
We
what
have
the
been
first-
requesting soil borings with all the designs.
So you get that from the
Right.
engineer that's
So your
hired.
ordinance doesn't require it, it's best, it just says that this is, if you have this many lots, or if you're commercial or residential, this is the type of street we need, this much gravel, this much blacktop, this wide and stuff like that. But it also has to have the city engineer review and discretion. And we don't believe, we've learned that the soils in Cross Lake, yes, they're very sandy, but they're not sandy everywhere. And so you can't just apply that cookie cutter to every spot. We require borings. Now, that's an added cost, but we think it's very fair. We limit it to just a couple. That gives us a little bit more confidence when they do the design. We can look at the soils and say, yeah, this is going to work. This is going to get the city what they expect in the roads. So I guess it's a double-edged sword. I'm saying if a private developer hires us through the city, they might incur more costs on the ultimate construction of it because we are looking at it from the city's perspective.
Yeah.
I think we should go with having him get his own engineer, and Phil does the review and approves it and stay out of it. It's going to cost us legal fees. I don't see the benefit to the city of Cross Lake.
Okay.
As much as I'd like to help them out, but
I agree with Marcia. I'm on the same page.
It seems like Phil's saying, long-term, we might be better off because he will look at, with a better perspective, a perspective of the city.
Well, hopefully he'll look at it through those lenses regardless of what he gets. You know, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Jerry, it's all up to you.
First item is a mutual aid agreement with MMUA, and that's basically an agreement to share people and machinery in case there's a catastrophe, and that would also allow us to get reimbursed. It's,
This is a
recommend-
renewal
This is-
of an agreement?
Yeah, this is a brand-new agreement.
We talked about this, though, at a previous,
Pardon?
we talked about this at a previous council meeting, didn't we?
I don't believe you did.
But I'll make a motion that we approve the mutual aid agreement.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor.
Second item is a resolution to appoint election judges.
I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution to appoint election judges.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Third item is a memo that Shar prepared based on the hail damage that we have on most of the buildings. I believe that the asphalt buildings will be replaced by the insurance coverage, and we're responsible for 30% of the cost of the metal buildings. It looks like this building, I don't know this one, but this one, the Public Works building and the fire building will need to be replaced.
Would we split the cost of the public works with the county?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were supposed to have something and it didn't come, so I apologize.
Well, I think it's a good opportunity, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'll
Go
move-
ahead.
We don't need a motion at this time, do you?
No,
I don't.
once we have the costs in front of us, but
Don't
just so
need to
you
do
know.
anything, we just wanted to make sure that you knew that there was damage.
Thank you.
That we have been in contact with the insurance companies to talk about that, and the adjusters have been out
Thank
here.
you.
all right.
The next one is a right-of-way use agreement with the Bensons. And this was something that came up prior to the first of the year, and it's been kind of dragging on. And we have something in front of you for your perusal, and it's been approved by the Bensons, as I
I was
believe.
gonna say, which one is this again? Where at?
Yeah, so we can go ahead now if we approve this agreement.
The property owners have signed off?
Okay. So then you can take care of that right away now.
No.
No, it's
No.
different.
This
That's
is-
not the same one?
This is a use agreement, no. This was when they asked, no, it's not that one. That was John
This isn't the
Forney's.
same property?
So many flying around, it's hard to keep them all straight.
Oh,
I move that we approve the right-of-way use agreement.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Jake, you got anything?
Jake, I think it's so great that you have initiated that kind of a program.
Yeah.
Should have been doing it all along, but good for you.
Where's Paul? Oh, there you are, come on up. There, sit right there.
Thanks for doing that earlier, not having me follow you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I've got a couple of items on the agenda tonight. First, wanted to give an update on the moratorium on accessory structures that the Planning Commission has been working on. So we've narrowed down the main focus on protecting the aesthetics of the entrances and the main roadways to and through our city. We've identified these as corridors. These consist of County Road 3, 66, County Road 16, County Road 36, and County Road 37. In these corridors, we've set standards that there should be no mini storage, no personal storage, and only commercial storage if used as accessory to a principal structure. So our next steps moving forward, we've got another workshop this coming Wednesday. We are to talk about establishing additional architecture standards within those corridors, different vehicles to help permit, and then how do we actually write and incorporate those into our ordinance moving forward. So those corridors are really our goal to protect And so I wanted to get your opinion on a couple of different items. One, the Planning Commission made a suggestion to be brought up to you guys that we work up an amendment to the moratorium to focus just on the corridor, because we've identified that as kind of our main goal, is to protect that and to kind of lift the restrictions off of those main corridors.
Was
And so
County
this
Road
is
3 on the identified areas? I
yes,
didn't hear
County
that.
Road 3, County Road 66, 16, 36, and 37.
Okay.
And so that's one, and this would be something that we would write up, work with our attorney on, and present to you next meeting, but it would be, we wanted to let you know, we're moving forward and, with good faith, we're moving forward with a plan in place. And so just to get your thoughts on.
So what is the amendment you want to do?
So it would be to really just to focus on the identified corridors opposed to right now, the entire city.
The moratorium to only apply to.
So if somebody were to come in with storage buildings and they wanted to do it on West Shore Drive, they couldn't because it's residential?
Yeah, and right now, per our ordinance, this doesn't change a whole lot today because per our ordinance and how we're now interpreting it moving forward, there are still some restrictions as far as what we're, permitting at our front window here. So it wouldn't change necessarily a ton today, but it kind of helps perception and it helps us prove that we're moving forward with a plan. And it helps us just to focus on our identified corridors.
West Shore Drive's not included in this, is it?
No.
Well, right now, the moratorium's on.
I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And this would include any property that touches any of those corridor highways.
And is it 1,000 feet back, or is there a distance, or just anything?
I mean, as of right now, we've talked about 400 feet from the center line of our main corridors out, so an 800-foot corridor, but that is something that we would draft up and present to you.
But so now it's just limiting anything on these corridors. There's no restriction, just nothing. You can't do anything.
As of right now, correct.
Well, no, that wouldn't be correct. If it's a commercial operation, they could.
Yes, I guess there are certain
Frontage, where they're
yes.
setting up a commercial face, and it's Jake's Pool Hall, and he's got a pool hall in the front. Okay, but he stores all his pool balls in the back. That's fine. Okay, but that would be allowed. I'm
But
just
yes,
using
as
that-
far as accessory, yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Is it has to have a business front. They could move forward with it. Can't be private and private storing.
Yeah.
There's your side gig.
Wednesday, 9 o'clock.
Pool balls.
Okay. So you need a motion for that?
I don't even know if we need an actual motion on it. It's
I
really to
think
get,
consent
it's really
from-
to get one.
Consent from everybody.
Yeah, it's a
forward.
combination of a report to you guys and, suggestions from you guys moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, I think focusing on the corridors is most important, so.
Do you care if I come to that workshop?
We'd love it.
Are you sure?
We'll expect you. Let's put it that way, Dave. How's that?
You've got it. You've got to sit in the back of the room, but you can come. And then the second quick item. So we've just had some internal discussions about the possibility of a public forum / survey, just to get a better understanding of what the community as a whole is thinking. We've had a number of workshops, which have been great, and we're moving forward. But it's been limited participation, which is as to be expected, but it would be nice to see, what the community as a whole, now that we've gotten this far, thinks about the moratorium and some of the items that we've looked at. So, I mean, we still have to actually figure out how do we do that, whether it's on our website, whether it's mailer, those are some things that we still have to work through and exactly identify, what we're trying to get after, but just the idea of trying to make this a little bit more broad citywide, just because we've heard a lot of comments on both sides of the aisle on it, and it doesn't seem like we have a lot of participation or people writing in, which may be a sign of the direction that we're going, but it would be kind of nice to see a broader perspective on this.
So are you gonna?
Again, I'm not looking for a motion, but just your guys' input on, is that a good idea? I don't want to prolong the moratorium, but if we can get it up and running and actually get some good information out of it, I think it would help benefit the planning commission and you guys when we're actually making, the final decision to remove the moratorium and, address some of these issues.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I wish that you could do the invitation or the presentation so you could motivate people to come in. People don't come in unless it's happening right next door to them.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Public forum or whatever. Public forum, you're thinking, Dave?
Yeah, well, just to get their attention so they come in and tell us what they think. It'd be great to hear.
Too bad City Hall isn't working.
I don't know how you're gonna get the attention.
Yeah, and again, those are two more so just updates on the moratorium, kind of where we're at and moving forward. So, moving on, second item is the approval of the final plat grand review, second edition by Sundown Holdings, Dan Miller, subdividing 18.78 acres into 31 individual tracts in the limited commercial district along East Shore Road. Attached is the final plat in your packet. The preliminary plat was approved by the City Council on May 13th. So what we would be looking for tonight would be the action request to approve the final plat of Grand Review Second Edition, and then just contingent upon the following conditions. Final development agreement to be signed between the city and the developer. Escrow account to be set up to cover both site improvements and the oversight services. And then the approval of cash in lieu of land by the Parks, Recreation, and Library Commission.
I'm just going to abstain as last time, even though, whatever.
You don't know why.
Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter at this point, but what the heck. Might as well stay continuous.
Well, I move that we approve the final plat.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And that included all the contingencies as well that he listed?
Still included on here?
Okay.
Are they all listed on there?
Yes, all right. I'll read them again. Final developers agreement to be signed by the city and the developer. Escrow account to be set up to cover both site improvements and oversight services. And then the approval of cash in lieu of land by the Parks and Rec Board.
We discussed that before. So.
Easy.
Put that in your.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You're welcome.
Yep. Okay. TJ?
Alrighty, Mayor Council, my first item is to discuss interim wage increase for our part-time employee, which is taking care of the front desk here while we're back at our search with the program and facilities coordinator position. I believe we bumped up that pay $2 an hour. Was it? I thought it was 17 to 19.
Mm-hmm.
Was it $4?
I thought it was 4, but I could be
So
wrong.
21. Okay. So that's what my recommendation would be until we find a new program and facilities coordinator. And that would be retro to June 28th.
I move to approve the interim wage increase.
And we're talking about Michelle. She's decided to step back up and.
Second it. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries.
All right, item B here. I hope to have something for you, but I have had some family stuff come up this past week and I really haven't been able to get really to it. But I would like maybe a couple council members to meet with me and talk about the job description, what maybe Michelle is seeing, how we can get a good qualified candidate in that seat. It's been a long process, so we just want to make sure that this one is tidied up and we have a good plan going forward, so.
I'll volunteer to meet with you, TJ.
Okay.
I'll help you.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. Item 3, right-of-way update. Me and the right-of-way committee met, and we initially planned on marking 16 right-of-ways. We put that in the budget, but we thought that was a pretty big bite to take out, so we identified 6 that we want to originally start out with. They are the current 6 that we currently see that are being used, and people kind of know about them. So we want to make sure that the signage is good, the public understands it. We just don't want to spend all the money on 16 and then have to go back and kind of redo some things. So from 16 to 6, it's just kind of an update, and then we'll just kind of keep on updating you as we progress through.
Who's going to physically do that, TJ?
My guys.
Oh, you're not going to have to get a survey or anything? You can do it?
We'll do it, yep.
Okay. Okay.
And then item D here is a Parks and Recreation update. I just want to comment on all the use that the parks received over the July 4th week/weekend, and our building was just absolutely crazy. We shattered previous numbers, so it was pretty much every amenity in the park was taken up, so it was pretty cool.
I drove through there multiple times. I even told Peter to get a drone and fly over it and take some pictures, because it is amazing.
That's all I have.
Did they start that pickleball camp yet, or when's that? I forgot already.
Not yet, no.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
Got him up from Florida.
All those ladies are going to be happy.
Okay, TJ, thank you. Pat?
The recommendations made by the Public Works Commission and for the city to consider. First one is the recommendation that the city council pursue acquisition of the easements necessary, I can't even speak tonight, necessary for the improvements of Harbor Lane proposed trails that consideration of special assessments as payments for easement.
So what do you mean, you're going to relieve the special assessment?
No. Easements, we're talking easements.
When we take an easement, yeah, then we'll just.
In lieu of the.
In lieu of their payment on it, so.
I'll make a motion that we proceed with acquiring the easements necessary for Harbor Lane and the proposed trail. And I'd like to delegate the job with contacting the property owners to the engineer, Phil. And I don't know, do you need someone else, a staff person or a council person? I guess, I know you talked about it at the Public Works meeting in order to get it moving.
My experience is I'm happy to talk to him. We've already talked to him when Mike Lanez was around. It's just better if there's a city person with me instead of just me speaking on your behalf. They're the face of the city as well. I could promise them Jackson's seat up there. And
I'll come with you, Phil.
it could be city staff or council, I don't care, but we just set up a meeting here, we invite them in, we talk to them, we talked about what we think their value is, what the assessments are looking like, and try and, get you information to consider.
And
Yeah, I can help out too.
if you can't make it, I'll fill in
Sounds
for
good,
you,
Marcia.
okay?
Thank you.
All right, but we should
We'll make
really,
it happen.
we need to get the easements acquired before we start holding improvements for that project.
Second.
Always looking for
Okay,
those
all in
seconds.
favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
All right, the last one is the recommendation of the renewal of the easement on Willwood Lane with the Corps of Engineers.
Is that just old as dirt, or what's the importance of that one?
The Corps will never sell a piece of land ever. And Willwood goes right across one little chunk of it, so.
Gotcha.
So what is it, a 25-year easement?
25-year leases.
I say, what do we have there?
Willwood, the road does.
Oh, the road does?
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Well, I'll make a motion that we renew the lease for another 25 years
Second.
With,
Sorry.
on the Willwood Lane with the Corps.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next we have public forum. Action may or may not be taken on the issue raised. If council requires more information, time for consideration initially placed on the next regular council agenda. Yep, speaker must state their name and address. Pat?
Pat Netco, 360 Wake Fork County Road 66. I just want to say a thank you, and I know they're not here right now, to Tim Bray and Steve Stroshine. Steve came out and talked to us about the project, and as far as business owners, and he was very willing to share his cell phone number, and I felt really good about it, and he's like, any questions, anything, concerns, and I feel the communication is very good, and I just wanted to, we had a lot of positive things tonight, so there's another one, and I wanted to give kudos to them for that.
Sweet. Awesome.
Thank you, Pat.
I want to, at our last assessment meeting, come on up, Cindy. I just want to thank the Public Works Department and Phil for all that work in the assessment, and I should have said something after that meeting, but thanks, you guys, a lot of work. I don't know if it's all done, but.
Keep them.
Okay, Cindy, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you again for your donation to the fireworks. While the weather wasn't completely cooperative, the show went off, and it was fantastic, and it was beautiful, and a lot of people saw it. Not as many as usual, probably, but I know you can see by the amount of people in town that the celebrations that we do here in Cross Lake pay off to the business economically, and they all appreciate it. So thank you for your donation to make that happen.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you for all you do, too.
Tom.
Come on up, Tom. You've been way too quiet back there in the corner.
This has to do with the assessment hearing. I just want to assure you, that, you know, I did it for 33 years sitting on that side of the table. This was a typical assessment hearing. Why am I being assessed? Why is that person getting a higher or lower or whatever? I just want to assure you, everything that was brought up here tonight with concerns, the Public Works Commission discussed those very same things. If we do this, how is that one going to react? There was a lot of work that went into that, and you know, we looked at the appraisal reports. We tried to stay in the low to mid range of what the appraiser felt the values were. There's, you know, even what you just approved here, where Phil and Jackson are gonna go talk to people about getting an easement in lieu of paying the assessment. I can tell you, when the assessment hearing happens, you're gonna hear people say, well, those people got a brand new road right next to them and they didn't pay anything. Well, what's the easement? You know, these assessment hearings, nobody's happy. The happy people didn't show up, but there was a lot of work that went into it, and I hope you guys take our recommendations seriously, because we did spend a lot of time and effort discussing the various scenarios. So.
Thanks, Tom.
And we appreciate your commission, Tom.
Anybody else?
Public forum. City Attorney, Jordan, you got anything for us?
I do not have anything to report tonight.
Motion.
New business? Just relax, will you? Somebody give him a bill.
Sorry, you're going to be held up because I have business.
New business?
Oh, boy.
Okay. New business. Do you know what we're getting for road assistance in July for road assistance, the under 5,000? You know, you should have gotten a notice already, I would think. It's supposed to come out in July. Okay, all right. The other thing is the right-of-way that we were supposed to do last fall, and unfortunately, I can't remember the names. I should have. Borning, yeah. And who was the other guy? Anyway, apparently, he's waiting for the attorney. Jordan, you want to get online again? Because there's got to be some agreements or whatever, and this has been since last fall. And look at all the rain we've had. I bet you they've just been flooded. I think we need to get that done. So are you aware of that agreement that you're supposed to be putting together, and how soon are you going to do it?
Can you share the name for me so I can look into it?
I didn't hear him.
The name.
I think it's Erickson, but I can.
Evenson.
Evenson
Oh,
is
Evenson.
Evenson, and it used to be Forney, but it's
Yeah,
not
but-
Forney. It's on Whitefish
So-
Avenue. We really just need a formal document that allows us to get on the land and do the work we wanted to do.
So have you gotten that information from the staff?
I will check into that and report back to staff. We'll get that figured out.
That needs to happen before the August meeting, because we've been going since last August on this. I'm pretty sure it was last August. My other thing is financial statement. It's now July, and we do not have a financial statement. When do you see that happening? Have you contacted, I'm upset that we paid Abdul, because all they were supposed to do is give us closing entries, give them to Shar, put them in, and we give our financial statement to Larson. I think we've paid just as much on those closing entries as we have on the audit. Something's got to happen here. Somebody's going to have to grab the bull by the horn, talk to Abdul, and say, we paid you $29,000. We want that financial statement, or contact Larson and find out what financial statement they base their audit off of.
Play ball.
A response.
I thought we had a solution in the making. And
2023 is done. You have those financial statements.
They're not right.
Yeah,
Well, we got
yes,
the
they are.
audit, but if you run
The
your,
financial statements are right.
they didn't have any,
I gave you the new ones. The
They didn't have any
depreciation.
depreciation
Yes,
in
they
there?
did.
okay. But we're still off. We
We're
still do not have
still-
2024, and it's July.
Right, and we have a problem in 2024 that I thought was going to be addressed before I left on vacation. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and Mike did not come in to do that. We have talked to Mike again. He is willing to come in and do that, but he would like a motion from the council approving his coming in and doing that work. I believe that because the two girls that are sitting over there have worked diligently for the last 3 months trying to get to the bottom of this problem and have not been able to find it. And it's their belief that it is something in the way Mike was doing the January setup. And he booked January, and then he left. And the problem goes from month to month. And we're wrestling with it. We want to get it taken care of. I really want to get Mike in here to finish the job.
Does he want
And-
compensation to come in here and do it?
Yes, he does.
Did he say how much?
It's $175 an hour.
How does that compare to the other company?
It's half.
Half, 50%.
So you're saying that Abdo gave you those entries. What did we actually get for $29,000? Because weren't you doing entries in February from Abdo, or?
I believe Mike did the January, and then he was parted in the end of February, I believe. So he had done a lot of work in between for 2024, the start of 2024.
So January was you were on board in January. You balanced. But in February, you didn't.
Correct.
So you should be able to find it in February.
Did he give any idea how much time it would
Those two
take?
girls have worked diligently, and they worked on the weekends, they worked in the evenings, and they spent their days trying to find it, and we can't find it.
Did Mike give you an indication of how much time he thought it would take?
He didn't know what it was going to be, but he's willing to come in, sit down with the girls and go through it. And
I know.
I think it's probably a training experience besides.
Marcia, Clifton Larson Allen gave us a quote for the audit last fall. Mike did almost all of the preparation for that. Clifton Larson Allen reviewed his work and put that book together. That's basically what they do. So when Abdu came in, they thought they were going to do very little work, as a normal city would, in that the audit company does most of the work. But that's not how Mike did it here. Mike did all the work prior to the audit. So they ended up having to do way more work than they thought they were going to do, because Mary from Clifton Larson Allen told them this is what they needed to prepare for her. They had no idea what they were getting into.
I don't,
And obviously, we didn't either.
apparently that we did not tell Abdo what they should have been doing.
The auditor told them what they needed to do.
But that should have been, we should have told them what to do.
Well, Mike
And
is the
then-
only one that could have done that. Nobody else has done that before.
Okay, so we need to
Well,
get past
it
this.
doesn't
I make
matter,
a
but
motion
I'd
that
like
we
to-
Get Mike back in here to work with the girls and get it figured out. You second that?
I say a time frame.
No, no.
And we just,
How can we do that?
look what we did with Abdo. That was supposed to cost
Hey.
us 10.
But Marcia, we have to get past this.
I know, I'm just saying.
Well, let's
You
put it-
can't leave it open-ended.
And, I don't know, I mean, I think you should be able to find it. It's, he set it up in 10 hours or less. I mean,
Let's go this way. If it goes over 10 hours, we'll stop and we'll come back.
Okay.
Unless it looks like you're at that point.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
we're going to use some discretion on
10 hours
that, but
and
we
5
need to get past this.
I agree.
City needs a liquor
So
license.
we got a motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was kind of shaky.
Oh, aye, yeah, aye.
What did you do, Marcia? Did you approve that or no?
Yes,
Okay, all in favor?
We just need to get it done. Aye. We're probably past the
That's a little
point.
better. No, motion carries, all in favor. Okay. Any old business? Okay.
From me. We have a couple of grievances outstanding. We've got the reports back now. Susan's got those reports. I am meeting with Susan tomorrow. I have a conference call with her. We'll discuss a plan of action, and I'll let you know what that plan of action is after we have that discussion. I believe also that we have a scheduled negotiation meeting on the 17th.
Correct.
Yes.
I just wanted to make note of that.
Reminder.
Well, they can do it a different day.
Is that 17th at noon, Jerry?
Pardon?
12 noon?
I believe so.
Okay. Okay, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.